He sat me down. I couldn't do nothing but sit down. I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I had to be on bed rest. I lost my memory for 30 days, going in and out. Like, it was bad. My son told me I forgot who I was. I didn't know who he was. He was scared. My son, I taught him how to drive at a very young age. And so because he had football practice and jujitsu practice, he was driving us to practice and I just didn't know.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Flip That Switch. I'm your host, Brandon, aka B to the Sis Naive, and we back with another episode. If you didn't get a chance to go back and watch the previous episode, please go back and watch it. As a matter of fact, before you watch that one, go back, or before you watch this one, go back and watch that one, as we talked about gender roles in the home and what that means and what that looks like. So today we're going to be diving into a new episode, and I wanted to bring on the guest that we're going to be talking to today. And I met her when we were doing the Vid Chronicle skits. And those skits were pretty fun. You know, I feel like it kind of got me out there as far as like my acting debut, because I've always had a passion for like acting, and it's something that I really want to get back into at some point. And so as I started to do the Vid Chronicle skit, I met her, and we actually was in a couple skits together, and we did a movie.
Sure did.
So y'all make sure y'all go check it out. It's called The Love I Regret. It's on YouTube, and I believe it's on Tubi. But the person I'm interviewing today, she is an actress. She is out there grinding and getting it. And if you've seen her on Tubi, you know she's been in a lot of movies on Tubi, and she's just dope, man. She's trying to really create a lane and make a lane for herself, as well as also just putting out there that, you know, you can be an actress and you can make it in this industry and in this game. And so she's out there killing it. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest today, Alexandria. What's going on, yo?
Hi.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do the episode with me. Truly, truly appreciate it. And we're going to dive right in.
Great. Well, thank you. First and foremost, thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on your podcast. So yeah, like you mentioned Tubi. I do have movies on Tubi. I do have, I was in it's called My True Crime Life on VH1. I was in there. It's kind of like Fatal Attraction. I have a series coming out on Stars. So it's
Congrats,
going to be on
congrats.
Stars and All Black. Thank you. It's an all new series. So I'm just honored to be a part of that. Brand new series. So season 1, and it's
Talk to me a little bit about that. Like, what is that series about?
so it's called Grits, Girls Raised in the South.
Okay.
So, it's like a action drama, It's not the typical narrative that you see, like the violence and stuff like that. I can't really, speak too much on it because I did sign an NDA, but I
Okay.
can say that the executive producers, people may know the executive producers because they actually have a show on Bounce TV called The Johnsons, and they're also not only executive producing, but they're actors in their own shows. So they are the executive producers for this series, and they're acting in this series as well. And then I think also with the Johnsons, one of the executive producers is Cedric the Entertainer. So I think
Oh,
that's pretty.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
I seen you did a movie with Carly Red too. How was that?
Oh yeah. No, that was actually fun. And it's so funny because I had auditioned for a smaller role because
Okay.
I was already out of town. I was in Atlanta. My agent is in Atlanta, so I was already in Atlanta filming. And I knew that I was like, while I'm in Dallas for a little bit, like while I'm back home for a little bit, then I'll find something to work on there. But I can't do anything that's too big or too much because I knew I needed to be back in Atlanta. So I accepted a smaller role. And then lo and behold, around my birthday, I got a call. It was like, "Hey, we want you for the bigger role." And I was like, "Okay."
Right.
So I ended up getting the bigger role. So it was two main characters. It was me and then the other girl, Diamond. And shout out to Diamond because she's amazing. But so yeah, I ended up getting another role. And filming the movie was actually fun. It's always fun when you're on a adult production.
Oh yeah.
I always hear one of the directors say, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance, and I love
Mm,
that. So
mm.
when
Wow.
you go by that, you know that you're not gonna, to expect a easy, smooth flowing production versus, some productions, they're not the best, they're not everything. And those are the productions I stay away from because it doesn't contribute to my goals. But yeah, the production was fun. We got to know each other. I'm scared of bugs, so they really worked in my favor.
Okay.
I love that. I'm vegan, so I love that they catered to when it was mealtime. They
Mhm.
actually handpicked my fruit. They handpicked it and cleaned it and everything. I was like, y'all took y'all time with this. Y'all was looking out for me. And when for me to be scared of bugs, one of my scenes, I had to die and I had to fall on the ground. I'm scared
Okay.
of bugs. I didn't land perfectly.
Wait, what kind of bugs was it?
I have no idea, but I don't want to lay in the grass.
That is hilarious.
So
Well,
yeah.
that's what's up. Well, you out here doing your thing, and it's definitely an admiration to see. Like I said, you out here grinding and just really being in this lane because it's hard to get into it's
Mhm.
hard to get into this lane. The market is so
Mhm.
saturated. So the fact that you actually out here doing it and living it, it's good. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Um, so talk to me a little bit about your upbringing. Like, how was it growing up? Did any pain points you had, and then kind of how did you get into acting? So talk to me a little bit about that.
So gotcha. So yeah, my dream was always to be an actress. I actually have a cousin who was on Coming to the Stage, and he had a show on Nickelodeon called Just Jordan. So I was always like inspired by that. And I loved seeing like the Nickelodeon Millennium. And honestly, I believe it was the like watching Martin and Sister Sister and the Parkers. It
Yeah.
was those type of shows, Moesha. It was those type of shows that actually like grasped my interest to want to be on it. All of that, the Amanda Show, like it was those shows, right? Like the shows that are out nowadays, it's cool, but it was that sparked my interest. But when I got in the acting industry, I found out that those were like live sets, like with an audience. I was like,
Mm.
I can't do that. I cannot do that. I'm too nervous for that. So that's when I got more into film because
Okay.
I would get anxiety when it came to that. But like growing up, I've always wanted to do it, and I never knew at the time that that was my purpose. But it was always on my heart, and
Hmm.
my grandma would always say, "You need to have something to fall back on. Like go to nursing school." And I'm like, I don't want to do that because you want me to do that. Like I want to do what I want to do. And so,
Right.
anyway, I still end up going to nursing school, because you got to please your parents. When you don't know any better, right? It's like, okay, well, this is what my mom said. My grandma raised me, so she's technically my mom. But I'm like, this is what she said I have to do. This is what I have to do, right? Until you start having your own mind. But but anyway, so yeah, back when I was younger, my grandma raised me primarily. Now
Okay.
I did experience some trauma, I did go live with, I'm not even gonna say what parent it was, but you know what? I went to live with my dad. But
Hey,
I
look,
only lived
it's a safe space. It's a safe
I know.
space.
Yeah, I only lived with him for a few months though, because he is not your average type of dad. Like, no, he didn't do anything like molestation or nothing like that. But, just imagine living with a parent that came home from prison, after
Mm,
doing like 10 years and they're mad at
mhm.
the world. So, like, they're angry at the world. At this age now, I understand. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. But I understand his mindset and where it could have been for him to be so mean and angry and violent. So, I had to deal with a lot of that, and I'm not gonna lie, it traumatized me because I'm young. I'm 13 years old. Little
Mm,
13-year-old me, full of life, full of laughter. It's come from my grandma's house. She's a Christian woman. She's full of life, and she's a classy, elegant woman. So just to go from that environment to this environment in a switch, I'm 13 years old. I'm not used to that type of life. I'm not used to being crying every day and being sad and hurt and bruised. I'm not used to that. So it was very different. And then, after that, had nowhere to go because hey, you can't be here, right?
yeah.
So I'm 13 years old with nowhere to go, just out here fiending for myself, feeling like I'm all I have. And that really affected me, and it really affected me with my dating life. It affected me with like my career and my confidence with believing in myself, anything. So like all these goals and dreams and ambition that I had just went out the window
Wow.
because because it went out the window because I'm going through life like I'm all I got. I have to figure this out. So that was like a fight or flight. And
Yeah.
I lost track and I lost thoughts of what it is I really want to do. I lost the enthusiasm. I don't even know if I'm using the word right because I don't even use it right. But I was no longer enthused for about what I wanted to do. I was no longer optimistic. It was like I have to make sure I survive out here. But shortly after that, I did go back to my grandma's house. So, but it was like it was a switch because now I'm tense. Now I'm shook. And I know she's not gonna do anything to me, but in my mind, you allowed this to happen to me.
Mm,
Even though she didn't allow it to happen to me, she didn't know it's her son. She didn't know it would come out like that. But
mm,
but the adult me is like, well, why would you send somebody to somebody who just got out of prison?
mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
soon. But she probably didn't think about it like that because that's her only child, and she didn't have any plans on raising somebody else. And
Mm-hmm.
then mom's side of the family, they were all alcoholics, drugs, so I couldn't go to that side. So I really don't have a relationship with them like that. I do know them. I was around them a few times younger, being as a child, but I don't really know them like that. So, I mean, it made perfect sense. She didn't want to see me go to a shelter, so she was like, I'm gonna take you. And I thank the Lord for her because if it wasn't for her, I feel like I wouldn't have been poured into as much as I was, and she still does to this day. I still talk to her like every day. Like I didn't move out her house until I was like 21, and she didn't want me to go. She wanted me to finish nursing school,
Yeah.
and it took for me to get like my first lead role for her to believe in my acting career. And I was telling her, I was like, you kept me in church. She always had me in church. You kept me in church. You kept me close to the Lord. So you don't think that I'm following the Lord. You don't think that I'm hearing him when he reveals my purpose to me. And that's what I'm doing, walking in my purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
once she was able to see that I was successful in it and without even having to go to work as a nurse, then she was just like, I feel better to know that when I leave this world, you'll be okay. So I
Wow.
think that was her whole thing because she knew after seeing what I had to go through, like she knew like I was kind of unstable mentally a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I did counseling and I did the self work, but it was trauma and triggers that
Yeah.
people around me were not aware of. Like, okay, why she flipping out like that? Why you like this in your relationship? Oh, you got daddy issues. I don't want to hear none of that. So
Right. Let me ask you a question. How long did it take for you to overcome that?
honestly, I experienced some recent trauma last year in August with the same parent, and come to find out, he from what it looks like, he because that's his mom, right? He's probably like, and he's the only child. He's like, I don't like the relationship y'all have. I kind of think that's what it is. And I went to counseling too. So I kind of think that's what it is. And honestly, seeing him in that light, and I hadn't seen him in that light since 13, because I've stayed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I only had to go around him because I was losing my great grandma. Not the one that raised me, but her mom. I was losing her. She was passing. She was in hospice. And so everybody had to go around. So that's the only reason I was even in his presence. So seeing him again and seeing how much meaner he was to me in that moment, it flashed back from when I was 13. And I was like, that's when I came to terms, like, you know what? I didn't say anything to him, but I was just like, I'm protected. I have the armor of God on me. But I identified that healing is not a permanent thing. It's not a permanent fix, because it doesn't really go anywhere. Like pain is inevitable and pain doesn't really, like, it has to go somewhere, but it doesn't like miss you. It doesn't escape, like,
Right.
so I had to identify, like, maybe I wasn't done healing, but it's like, how can you be done healing from that? How can you really fully be done healing? I feel like I had to identify my triggers because all this time I had triggers. You know what I'm saying? I had triggers and wasn't aware that they were triggers.
Wow.
So,
Wow. That is wow. Do you feel like acting was an escape from all that?
yes, yes, because I naturally was raised to be a good person, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, like being a good person is naturally in me, having a good heart. Like my son would tell you, you too nice and you're too kind. You need to be like me. Like my son would tell me that. Like you need to
Yeah.
be more like me. You need to say no. So I feel
Right.
like I'm naturally like I'm kind and I have a good heart. But I feel like when I am in my acting mode and
Yeah.
whatever the role it is, I can escape and I can be that mean girl. I can take out my frustration because I don't want to be a mean girl, you know. Like I can't sleep at night knowing that I was mean, and I probably had a reason to be mean, you know. But but I'll be like, man, I feel bad, like you know, because it's naturally in me. But when I'm acting and I can play this dramatic role, I can put my frustration into that versus putting it into my everyday life, you know, because I do wake up and choose happiness. I choose peace every day, you know, and that's not easy thing to do because you're in a world full of tests. Anybody can test you. Anybody can provoke you. So when I'm
Hmm.
acting, I go into another space. I go into another life, and I'm like, I get to explore different people. I get to explore different characters and actually use real emotion that I wouldn't use anywhere else. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you said you went through this last year with him. So where does y'all's relationship stand today?
It doesn't stand. And you know, like I said, I went to counseling again. I had to come to you know, every day, and since a child, since my grandma, you know, has been raising me, like she's always told me, like you have to be intentional about the energy, about your peace, and about becoming the best version of yourself every day. So she
Absolutely.
instilled that in me from a very young age. You know, she instilled in me that if you can fix it, fix it. There's no point in crying about it. If you can't fix it, still don't cry about it. Don't dwell about it. What you gonna do? Cry about it every day, and it's still not fixed. You know. So
Hmm.
she was on me like that. So every day I'm always intentional about becoming the best version of myself, and I stick to God number one. Like that's every morning, thank you Lord. Every night, every meal, every hour, I'm like, thank you Lord, you know. And I'm always praying. So uh, I feel like since I'm always intentionally becoming the best version of myself and working on whatever area that needs improvement, I feel like for my sanity and for my peace and my mental and my emotional and my spiritual, I don't need to go anywhere near, you know, him. That's how I feel. I forgive him, you know, because I
Absolutely.
have peace in my heart. And I told him I would love you from a distance, you know, like because it's not me, right? I'm doing the work. Maybe it's you, but of course, people who don't feel like they're the problem, they never seek the help. They never go get the inner work because they don't feel like nothing's wrong. So, only thing I can do is pray for them. You know, I'm gonna pray for you, and I'm gonna love you from a distance. I have no ill will in my heart for you. I have no bad blood for you. Um, but I don't want to ever be in that environment again. You know,
Right.
because
Right.
I don't want to be provoked, and
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything that's gonna set me behind from my
Mm,
growth.
mm. That's gonna hinder your growth. Wow. You know what? I'm in the same boat because again, like you, I didn't grow up with a father either. But and I'll forgive him and stuff like that. But you as you get older and you become wiser and more mature, you start to see what that person really is. You
Hmm.
start to see if that person's really changed or if they're the same. And when you realize that, okay, you know what, this person really hasn't changed, they are the same individual that they always been, you have to protect your peace.
Hmm.
You have to protect your energy.
Right.
And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that energy and vibes are like that is my number one thing, you know. And I mean, family member or not, like I'm going to protect my family and my peace and my energy at all costs. And so if I see that the vibe ain't there and the energy ain't there, I don't even want to go nowhere near that.
Exactly.
So like you said, you could love them from a distance, you forgive them for everything that, you know, transpired, but at the same time, you have to protect your inner peace because what happens is if energy is infectious, right? And the
Hmm.
more and more you start going around that, the more and more you start to become that person.
Exactly.
And
And that's
that
what we
right,
don't want.
no, 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 no.
It's like, and, you know, and to your point about, you know, like, you know, trying to, like, you're praying for that person to change or you hoping that they have changed. Like, to even give a person a chance to see if they've changed does something to your mental because you have hope and you want to think positive about people, you know, and you want to, you don't want to speak negative and, like, you know, be doubtful. But it's just
Yeah,
like, once you give it a chance and you see it, it's like mentally, like, well, dang, you got to be mentally strong with that because you can either be like, well, man, I thought, or, you know, I done set myself back. Or you could be like, brush it off, like, it's cool. I knew that he could have changed or he couldn't have, and just keep it moving, you know? But I
yep,
feel like you have to be emotionally mature to be in that mindset where you can keep it moving. And, like, to be clear, it's not often or common that you see like a lot of people in an emotionally mature state of mind And it's not easy to get there either because, we've all, as people, have experienced and endured trauma.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's good that you had your grandma around. It seems like she was your angel, and
Hmm.
and we all have those people in our lives that they sacrifice and they're selfless and they want to make sure that we are the best version of ourselves. And so, even if it's not your direct parents, there's always going to be someone in your family, someone in your life that
Yeah.
God is going to send you to be that angel. It seems like it was your grandma.
Yeah, and she's so amazing. And I can tell you right now, like that's her son, and she doesn't like that we don't have a relationship. But I told her, hey, it ain't nothing nobody can do about it.
Ain't
So
nothing. Look, ain't nothing that can be done about that one.
it's nothing. Hey, I would pray for you and keep it moving because
Yeah,
I like to smile. I like my glow. I like to be happy. So
absolutely, absolutely. So you have a son.
hmm
How old is your son?
he's 15.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you are teaching him? Because okay, well, let me ask you this: is your son's father in his life?
He's not.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you are teaching him as he's coming up to make sure that he is like you know, because
Hmm.
like you said, you're positive, you're always trying to smile, you're always trying to think of the good and you're kind-hearted, but you know also that we live in a dark, dark world and
Hmm.
society and social media and all that, it's really just brainwash us to be
Yeah.
negative and to think negative. So how
Yeah.
are you teaching him to be more like you, especially in a world that really doesn't want to see us smile, don't
Exactly.
want to see us happy, you know?
Yeah. So I can say like with my parenting, when it comes to my parenting, I pride myself in that because if I don't do nothing else great in life, I do amazing in that area. But I do amazing in other areas too. Just to say
Right,
that. But
right, right.
um but no, so with him, he's been my baby, and I've been his only parent since day one, right? So I've been instilling in him since day one because I don't even want to say I'm crazy for believing this, but I just want to see proof that if you raise a kid, if you're intentional and active as a parent and you're raising your child, I just want to see proof that a child can be raised and become a decent adult instead of an effed up adult, because you got
Absolutely.
like his friends, their parents are not around. And
Mm,
I believe in being friends and, a parent to your child. I do believe in it because you want to be their first friend. You want to be their influence, their first influence. You want to be their first person, their first best friend so that they're not, they know you're their parent and you don't play, but they also know not to be afraid to come and tell you anything because if they get themselves in some sticky situations, they don't feel that comfort in that safe space, they're not going to tell you. And now y'all both going to be in a situation because you're the parent. So yeah, I've always instilled in him like at a very young age. And I did it at a very young age because it matters the most when you're young so that this can become your mentality, right? So I've always told him, like my grandma would tell me, choose your peace. So my son was 3 years old telling people to choose their peace. He can barely say the word, chew your peace, like he was 3 years old talking about choose your peace. Whether he understood it then or not, it was instilled and he was trained. So
yeah.
I always tell him like choose your peace. You want to be happy because why? Because I want to be happy because I choose to be happy. And I've always let them know like pain is inevitable, so you're gonna feel it. But as long as it's something that's in within your control, you can choose how you want to feel about that situation. Because I always feel like it's not about what you go through, but it's how you choose to feel about going through what you're going through.
Mm,
So
wow.
I instill that in him, often. Now I'm not a man, so I can't teach him how to be a man. I've dated, I've had relationships, but they wasn't really active in his life. And for me, during the times, it was like, oh, this is fun. The relationship is fun. It wasn't like a forever thing. So they weren't involved enough to even instill anything in him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was young, trying to grow up, just trying to find it and figure it out. Also, still dealing with the trauma, like clearly daddy issues. So I'm thinking, ain't nobody gonna stay around, especially not a man. But with him though, I do show him like he opened the doors, he takes out the trash. I just kind of show him or yeah, I show him what my male friends would tell me that they do
Okay.
as men. So I do make sure like I have male friends that are not trying to hit on me, because I wasn't even in the mental capacity to where I could be in a relationship and definitely not with my male friends.
Right. Right.
I do take advice from them and wisdom from them, and I make sure that I'm watching the energy that I keep. I'm making sure that the energy is of God versus somebody that's not following God. Because what kind of advice can you give me? But
Exactly.
so I do that, and then I have conversations with him. So now that he's in high school, we talk about girls, girlfriends. We talk about sex. We talk about, his mindset when it comes to sex. Like, are you thinking about it? He asks me questions. He's just like, "Mom, is it gonna hurt her?" And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, but I have to talk about
That
it.
is hilarious. That
So
is
like,
funny.
yeah, he's able to come to me, and I make sure it's an open space. Like he comes to me and talk to me about his friends. But I also let him know, like, hey, make sure you're being open with me. And I told him last night, I said, I know kids are different when they're away from their parents, right? I said, am I crazy for thinking that? He's like, I mean, you're not crazy for thinking that, but why are you thinking that? I'm like, boy, y'all are different when y'all away from your parents. But I'm like, the one thing I do know is that I can count on you and I can trust you enough to come and tell me something or let me know something or ask me something if you don't know and you need help and understanding and guidance. So that's pretty much our relationship. I'm his friend and his mom, but he
Yeah.
knows, like his friends will tell him, your mom is strict. He's like, no, my mom just don't play. You know,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
let him go to people's house. I don't trust that. You're not going to nobody's house. I keep you close because I feel like once you let your kids out of your sight while they're young and they're
Mm,
curious and they're around other kids who just doing stuff because their parents are not watching them,
mm,
and that's when your kid's gonna start trolling, and getting a hold of the wrong
mhm,
things and they trying to experience life and explore. And I'm a single parent.
mhm,
It's already tough doing that. Don't take me through something else. And I'm very open with him about that. Like, I'm your only parent. I know you know that you see me every day, so I'm
mhm.
very transparent with him about that. And I feel like it's important to be real with your kids because if not, you will taint their vision of what life is like because my son really thought I was Superwoman. He was like, you are Superwoman. You get everything done. You find a way to figure it out. You fix it. You always do." I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop that because I'd be torturing myself trying to fix the stuff and trying to seem perfect or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to taint your vision to life because
Yeah.
I do have emotions. I do sit in my room and cry when I feel like stuff is too hard. So I would just start being more open with him. But one thing I will say too about the parenting is that I do pray. I have him in church and we do pray together.
Yep.
And I do have him speaking affirmations to himself every morning to build his confidence. I do put him in sports, just to keep him active because we know idle minds, the devil's playground. So I feel like that with that, we all have purpose in everybody's life, but as a parent, you have purpose in your child life. And I do pray over my purpose, God, please help me fulfill my purpose in my child life instead of just supervising him. So
Man.
every year is a different year for me and him because we both turn into different age. We both getting a year older. But more than anything, he's respectful. He's memorable. Shoot, my friends be on the phone with him for 2 or 3 hours.
I
So,
love that. I love that. And I like what you said about the fact that you don't let him go over people's house because sometimes some people take offense to that. And it's like, it's nothing against you. It's just, I have to protect my child.
mhm.
So much stuff that happens. And like you said, a lot of parents, they let their kids get away with murder. They let their kids do this and that. And that's not going to be my child because then my child is going to come home thinking that he can do the same stuff that they do.
Exactly.
And it's like, this ain't that type of environment.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that me and Destiny, we told ourselves, we were like, look, kids want to come over here, play with Ocean, cool, as she gets older. But, we have to protect that. And there's
Hmm.
so much that goes on and there's so much that happens in these houses and these homes. And that just has to be protected. So I can
Even with
definitely
the
appreciate that.
parents, like the
Yeah,
parents, sometimes they don't be all the way right.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, mm-mm, mm-mm.
yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then I mean, you gotta also go meet the parents, you gotta do your research. I
Get a
mean, you gotta
report.
really truly get to know them. So it takes a lot.
It
So
does. And even after doing that, it's like you feel like you've done your due diligence. And even that still doesn't mean, because I had seen something where a lady, and I don't mean to like real off to this, but I was telling my son about this, where I
yeah,
saw where a lady was like, and she took it to social media. And of course they hounded her and, well, if this were me and if that were me, you can't do it, right? So she was
right.
like, well, I did do my due diligence and meeting the family. Like I met them and we went out and we did a lot of things for about 6 months. But the dad went in and killed everybody and himself. So
Oh
her
no.
daughter was a part of that sleepover and got killed, you know? So unfortunately, you know, but it's just like the mom knew that the dad had did 13 something or 13 over 13 years and he had just came home, you know? Like, but she put it to the kid's mom that her husband just was like in the military or something. Like he was just gone overseas, but the whole time he was in jail. Like, well, you know, why would you? Weird.
That's crazy. Yeah, no. See, and when I be seeing stuff like that, trust me, we watch a lot of First 48 and a lot of other shows, and I don't know, man. I just can't do it. I gotta
Exactly.
protect that. Wow,
And
that's
that's a part of our parenting. It's a part of our job. Responsibility is to protect as well. So
no for sure. Because when something happens, I mean, yes, that other individual did something, but it's also on you as the parent to know and to realize that okay, I'm putting my kid in a bad situation.
hmm
I'm letting my kid go over somebody's house and I don't know what's going on. I'm not in tune. I'm not locked in and zoned in on what's happening over there. It
exactly.
falls on me too.
Exactly. And it could have been prevented just by you saying, no, you can't go over
Yeah,
there.
no, for sure. All right. So speaking of, boyfriends and stuff like that, let's talk a little bit about your love life, you know what I'm saying? Because you had mentioned to me that, and this came out of nowhere. You was doing your thing, and all of a sudden, you look up, and you got a dude, and you telling me how you just really love this man and all this. So, talk to me a little bit about the relationship you're in right now.
You see my glow. You see my
I see.
smile.
Right. That's yep. I see it, yo.
Yep. So, I'm so happy.
That's
but
cool. That's the feeling you're supposed to have. That's how it's
right, it
supposed to
is.
be.
And that's what he says all the time. He's like, this is what love's supposed to feel like,
That's what
right?
it's supposed to feel like.
Yes, it's amazing. Like I wake up every morning like I can't believe I'm still feeling this high. You know, I'm still feeling this feeling. Like I can't believe I'm feeling the feeling that I didn't think existed, you know?
Right.
So, I can say so I had got off the dating market like over 2 years ago.
Okay.
And in between time, I was leaning on my own understanding and I was like, okay, maybe I can give somebody a chance to try to date. But I feel like in the duration of me like especially the first year doing the self work and the inner work, because let me rewind and say like years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, I used to always be like, God, where's my husband? Where's my husband? Where is my husband? I could be
Yeah.
on the phone with my cousin and we could be talking about like her next hairstyle, or we could be talking about, work or our goals, and out of nowhere I'm like, where is my husband? And I'm just like, where is he? Because I'm here alone. Like I'm here alone. I've been in 3 relationships. Well, at that time I was like, yeah, it wasn't 3 relationships. I've been in 3 relationships and I'm just like, that I knew that that wasn't it, like why, and for me, why are you in a relationship and that's not it? You already know. Why are you prolonging this time, wasting your time? Like I said, it was
Yep.
fun. And now I'm growing to understand that, oh, you was in it for fun. But I'm just like, where's my husband, right? So I'm also complaining to God too, like I'm not where I want to be. Why am I not where I want to be? Why are you not giving me the tools? He like, I'm giving you the tools, but you so worried about where your husband at. So he's just like,
Ooh.
stop worried about that. And my cousin used to be like, don't worry about that, because when you worry, you showing God you don't trust him, and he's gonna
Mm,
deliver. Like he wouldn't
mm,
give you the desires and put it on your heart to feel like
come
you
on.
deserve that if he's not gonna give that to you.
Come
So she said that to me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna force myself to stop thinking about it. And that's Alex, right? Leaning on my own understanding to make myself stop thinking about it. But I was like, you know what? No, God, I hear you. Let me just, it's easier when you lean on him. Like it's like the load is lifted when you lean on him. And I was
on.
like, you know what, Lord, I'm going to listen to you. And the moment I listened to him, I seen the shift in myself. Like, okay, I start focusing more on myself, more on my peace, more on my emotional, more on my spiritual,
Mhm.
more on my physical, got in the gym, like more on my business. I'm an entrepreneur. My son sees that too. He want to be an entrepreneur. But I start focusing more on that, more on my relationship with my son. And that's when I said I put him in jujitsu, because I thought about, hey, aggression, self-defense and self-initiation. I start thinking about the disciplines that he's going to need in those areas. So I got so consumed with my inner work and my inner growth, I didn't
Mhm.
even think about a husband anymore. In
Yeah.
fact, I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm probably just gonna be by myself. I like this. This is chill. This is pretty cool, right? But that
Right.
was
Right.
Alex thinking like she's gonna be by herself. That wasn't what the Lord was saying to me. And I found myself being combative sometimes with the Lord. Like, yeah, you saying that I'm gonna be with somebody, but I don't see it. It ain't here yet, like,
Right.
okay, whatever. I've gotten content and comfortable with being by myself. And again, like I said, I had decided to, like Alex did, was like, you know what, let me go test the waters, even though God's still telling me like, don't touch that, And I'm like, well, let me just see, because maybe I'm
Mm.
ready. I don't know. Those sort of moments. Maybe I'm ready. I don't know.
Yeah.
I go give somebody a chance. I cut them off for 2 weeks because at this point I didn't learn too much being by myself. I didn't
Yeah.
learn enough. I didn't had some growth. So I'm like, I don't like your approach. I don't like you not even putting no solid efforts, like to me it's about approach, initially to get my attention. And I'm just like, and then after you approach, you get my attention, what are you gonna do from there? Because I know what I'm doing, so what are you gonna do from there? And you got people like, oh well, I want to come to your house. Blocked. I don't know you. You don't know me. You're not coming to my house.
Block
Yeah, you're not
immediately.
coming to my house, because why didn't you say let's go on a date? Or why do you feel like you're about to what you're doing in Good Morning Me all day?
Yeah.
Like you have no
Yeah.
substance, you have no depth. And with me spending this time alone, I'm learning more about myself and what I actually want and need in a
Mm.
man. I'm getting back to the fairy tale life of this dream, man, that I had when I was growing up. So I felt like I needed that time to myself, and I feel like I had an injury last year. I had a slip and fall at a restaurant. And I feel like God set me down. He had my mind at that point. And he was just like, this is you. I'm putting you at your peak. Now
Mhm.
this is the time you really need to listen and listen up, because you dated. I said not to touch it. I
Mm.
dated like 4 different times. I tried on my own, right? He was like, you did it and you wasn't supposed to.
Yep.
I'm gonna sit you down. I got your attention. He
Yep.
set me down. And
Yep.
so, and again, like granted, I ain't the dating didn't last long because I would cut him off because I snapped back into God, right? He kept pulling me back. But he's just like, yeah, but you still did it 4 times. You didn't just do it one time and learn from it. You did it 4 times.
Mm.
Let me sit you down real quick. So he did that. He set me down. I couldn't do nothing but sit down. I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I had to be on bed rest. I lost my memory for 30 days. And my
Wow.
memory was going in and out. Like, it was bad. My son told me I forgot who I was. I didn't know who he was. He was scared. My son, I taught him how to drive at a very young age. And so because he had football practice and jujitsu practice, he was driving us to practice and I just didn't know. So yeah, it got really bad. So I had to do like neurofeedback therapy. I had to get into, like, of course, physical therapy, just a lot of therapy, to get my memory back on track. So today, thank God, I'm 80%. I couldn't stand for no longer than 5 minutes when
Mm.
I started standing. They was like, you're gonna get a wheelchair and or a walker. I was like, I'm gonna be on bed rest. I'm too cute for that, right? So you're not giving me that. But
When did this happen?
it happened February 3rd last year, 2024.
Wow.
I was MIA for a long time. Like, some people notice, and but I don't have a lot of friends either. I don't talk to a lot of people, so some people notice, but the ones that I'm close to, they really knew because they would call me. So after I kind of I came back, my memory came back. Um, they would call and let me know, like, "Girl, are you okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?" They like, I was calling you and you didn't know who I was. Like, I came by your house and you didn't know who I was. I didn't know what was going on with you. Like, nobody just really knew. Like, my dad knew,
Mm. Wow.
but it wasn't something he cared to share with people. Um, so yeah, I went through that, and I feel like that time right there was very valuable for me because it actually set me down and it put me in a space where I could listen, understand, focus, and pay attention.
Hmm.
And I did. Like, I have a company. I lost a lot. I lost contracts because I wasn't in meetings. I lost employees. I didn't know what was going on. So I felt like that really, it really set me down for real.
Yeah.
And that's when, after I came up out of, like I said, today I'm at 80% memory, and I feel
So
better.
so do you is are you gonna eventually get back to 100%? Is
Yeah,
it
no, I'm gonna get
okay?
back to 100%. So what happened was that when I was doing neurofeedback therapy and I was going through that, they were looking at my brain and they were like, keeping track of the progress. Remember, I had that trauma in August. They were
Hmm.
able to see when they did that last scan. You're set back. Something happened. You experienced some more trauma. Did you hit yourself again? I'm like, I didn't, but this is what I just went through. So I kind of like took myself back with that mentally. and they were able to see that. I guess it was like a little, something in the test or whatever. And so I was like, that's crazy how y'all able to see that because y'all don't even know what just happened.
Mm,
But anyway, so I got back on track. And initially, I wasn't supposed to be walking for up to 2 years,
wow.
but God.
Oh, for sure.
so so I feel like God wanted to sit me down to get my attention. He did. He has my attention fully, and that's how he was able to really introduce my love life. Cause
Ooh.
cause I was just like, I ain't dating, I'm not dating. I was even telling him, I was like, I'm not on the market right now, but there was still Alex saying that. But what God was just like, now, didn't you ask me for this 5, 6 years ago? And I'm putting him in front of you. Everything you asked for and prayed for in the man, he is right here. And you talking about you ain't dating? I was like, you're right. Let me go ahead and see what he's talking about. And I'm glad I did because he's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm,
And my son loves him. My son ain't never loved or liked nobody I dated.
wow. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And he's a man of God. We pray. Like, I can't get enough of him.
That's it. That's
Yes.
it.
And also, he called out that I had daddy issues. And I was able to receive it from him. I was in a place to receive it, you know?
And that's how
He,
you
he,
know.
he also acknowledged the fact, like, hey, you're an alpha woman because you do everything on your own. It's understandable. And it's going to be a challenge, but I'm a man of God.
Mhm.
Like, I can lead you. And I
Mm,
know that you can trust me.
wow.
And so, and he's so patient. He's so calm with me. And I just share with him every day, like, thank you. And I appreciate you, like, for being patient and calm with me because my walk and my journey wasn't easy. And it hasn't been easy, but I do strive to be the best version of myself every day. And I'm like, I pray, like, I can make you the happiest man in the world.
Mm,
I think he's sitting right here. You fall asleep.
mm. It's the affirmation. It's we as men, we don't require much, you know,
Right.
but it's the affirmation that we get from our women that'll make us ready to run through a wall for them. It's the respect that we get. It's the affirmation. It's them understanding and realizing that, you know what, we don't require much, but at the same time, the little things that we do require, it has to be in you, and the desire has to be in you to want to fulfill those things as a wife and as a
Hmm.
woman. You know what I mean? And so just the fact that God sent him into your life and you understood that, you fought against it for a minute, but then you kind of let go and you like, okay, I'm gonna give this an opportunity. And
Hmm.
now you're starting to see the good and what this could really look like, what this is supposed to look like,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And so I commend you for really just allowing God to take over. And now you're seeing the blessing that, you're getting
Yes.
from that,
And
that's
I'm understanding too. Like, I'm understanding, like, because when, like you said, when we're younger, what we understood to be whatever it was then, it makes more sense now. So
absolutely.
like, I'm understanding more and more like what it truly means to lean on God's understanding and not your own. Because my relationship life has been a failure because of my way.
Mm, mm,
And of course, in order to have anything successful, God has to be in it. And
mhm,
so I met my match, like I met somebody I can pray with. I met somebody I go to church with. I met somebody I can talk to about anything with. I met somebody I can be myself with. Like, I met somebody, I don't even gotta, like, if I gotta do number two, I don't even have to hide it, like,
bruh.
if I gotta let a few out in the bed, I don't have to hide it.
Right,
So like,
right.
I feel like I met my person, and it's not crazy, like, and it's not a coincidence with God, like how it happened when it was supposed to happen. I feel like we both had to go through things in life so we both could receive each other and be built, for each other. Because I feel like God was molding me too. I feel like He was just like, sit down, let me mold you to be the person you need to be to be prepared to receive the blessings I have for you. He kept saying it to me. So every time I felt like, oh, do it your way, even minus those 4 times, but every time I felt like doing it my way, I'll snap back into reality. Like, whatever. It is what it is. Like, I'm gonna be single by myself forever. I'm gonna be raising my son 15. So,
Absolutely. That's
but
awesome.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you feel like you're ready to be a wife?
I feel like for once I am because I had never like I had gotten away from like, oh, I don't want a wedding because I'm going to spend all this money, for people to celebrate, and it's no point in spending all this money. I had gotten away from that, and I, like I said, I had just like Alexandria, I had just got away from, even wanting a relationship. But the God in me, in the fairy tale dream that I had, right, like that I was thinking like, maybe I'm not gonna get that. Probably something close, but I'm not gonna get it. I
Yeah.
have that. So it's like now that matches it. It just comes together like, okay, this is the person I can marry. Like this is the person I want to be a wife to. And a friend, I think I was telling you, like a friend pointed out to me like, he was like, you go through obstacles and you asking God like why? Because I do feel like I'm a chosen one, and honestly, people around me believe that they're chosen ones too, and I feel like that's why we connect so much. And we come, like me and my homegirl, we do Bible study on
Right.
Wednesdays, and so we come to the conclusion like the reason why God has taken us through the things that He's taken us through is so that we can become stronger. But it's like because you're a chosen one, God always wants you to be stronger and stronger and stronger. And just because we feel like it's too much for us to handle and bear, that's not what He said. So we have to like literally understand that part. Like God don't feel like this is too much for me to handle, so I shouldn't feel like that because He's never going to have the weight that's too heavy for us to carry.
That's
So
true.
like with that, like with being stronger, my friend was like, you want to know like why God keep on doing things to make you stronger. He was like, you're an amazing friend. Like you're an amazing friend, you're an amazing person, you're an amazing mom. I've seen you, I've been around you, I've witnessed your growth. You're amazing, you're great. He's like, but have you ever stopped to think about maybe God is wanting you to do stuff out of love and not because you have to?
Mm,
So when you had mentioned, when I had first with the briefing like about the desires, I was like, this is right on time because
mm,
yeah, like I was taking my son to school and I because I feel like, well, I'm the only person that's gonna do it, right? But it's like, no, do it because you love to do it,
mm,
which would change the whole trajectory here. And
mm,
once he spoke that to me, I was like, right, because when we tithe, right, we tithe because it's out of our heart. So when we do things, it's out of kindness, it's out
mm.
of love. So I feel like, like I was saying, I got a maid at home, but I'm like, I want to clean my man's house. I want to take care of my man. I want to cater to my man.
I tell
You
you
know,
what. I tell you what. It is the difference maker in a relationship and a marriage. Not doing stuff out of obligation, not doing stuff because you think it's a role, not doing it just because it's Thursday and you feel like you got to do it. You doing it because you desire to do it. You wake up and you're like, you know what? I desire to lighten the load of my partner. I desire to cook for my partner just because I know he loves XYZ food. You know what I'm saying? Not because I have to, not because not huffing and puffing doing it, but because this is truly within me and in my heart to be like, you know what? I'm happy to do this for you. I'm happy to serve you. And it goes
yes,
both way with the man too. The man has to be able to, nurture his woman and protect and provide, but not because someone told him he needed to do it. It's because it's already built in him and he has
yes,
a desire to do it.
yes,
It's that simple. That's how it works. And so the fact that you said that like it's in me and that's my desire is going to take you guys so far, because even in those moments where life is going to happen, curveballs are going to get thrown in your life, and y'all are going to there's going to be times where y'all don't like each other, but at the same time it's like still having that desire to be like, you know what, even though we're not rocking with each other right now per se, I'm still going to do this because I still have the desire to let you know that no matter what, I'm still here. It's still in my
hmm
heart to do this for you, or to give you affirmation, or to motivate you, or to encourage you to go out here and be the best version of yourself you can be. So the fact that you have that desire in your heart, that's like half the battle right there. And you just got to act on
yeah, and he speaks that to me too. Like just because you're upset or frustrated about something, you can't just walk away.
it.
You
Yep.
know, and I mean, like I said, when I dated those 4 times, right? Like, oh, I'm cutting you out
It
quick.
was easy. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
easy.
So.
Yeah. But marriage is a different ball game. You can't just walk away. It's a committed relationship. It's a covenant before God, and you don't just get to walk away from that. Yeah, when you boyfriend and girlfriend, I don't encourage it then, but it's easy. You could just walk away and be like, well, we don't have any ties to each other. But marriage is a totally different ball game. And at the moments where you guys aren't rocking with each other, where you're going through those lows, you got to stick it out and figure out how can you overcome this. Let's meet in the middle. Let's talk it out. Let's overcome this, because divorce should not be an option.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've went through it. I've been divorced before. So this
Oh
is me telling
yeah.
you that, like, when I got divorced that first time, I told myself I don't want to ever go through that feeling again,
Right.
because I feel like I failed God in that moment. And so when I got married again, I was like, you know what, this is not going to be an option for me.
Right.
Whatever, we took a covenant and we took a oath, and we're gonna have to figure this thing out.
Right. And
So
like you said, like when you got God in it, right? Like I feel like when you have God in it, in the direction, and we've been intentional,
yeah,
and I'm just happy that I did run into somebody who already has God, alone, right? Individually. That
yeah,
way,
for sure.
collectively, together, we have God. Because I feel like I can't be the only one with God, and I'm leaning on His understanding, and I'm trying
Yep.
to trust you, but you have no guidance. You have
Mm,
nobody who's guiding you. So I am happy that that is there, and it's like a puzzle. It just plugged perfectly.
yeah, for sure.
Um, and I understand you'll never get 100% of what you want in a person, but I really feel like I got like 85 to 90%, of what I want in my person.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna get you up out of here on this last question. I always ask this to my guests to kind of end the episode, but let's say that 23, 24-year-old Alexandria is asking you for advice on anything.
Hmm.
Um, no, just pick something. For example, let's just say she's asking you for advice on how to overcome trauma. You've gone through it, you've been through it. What are some of the things that you would tell her to help her to navigate differently than you did, or overcome that trauma?
Okay. So yeah, I would tell my younger self that trauma, is inevitable. You can't escape it. But it's about identifying the triggers from it and managing those triggers from it, like creating a threshold so that when people reach that or come close to the threshold, they're not able to change your character or
Mm,
change you who you are, because it will affect you and impact you in your relationships and people around you.
hmm
Because I'm a great person, but people did not want to be around me because I had a bad attitude,
hmm
and I didn't identify at the time where it came from. So I just feel like it's important to identify what your trauma did to you so that you can manage it and you're not impacting or negatively affecting people around you. And I feel like that with that, it'll go a long way because people would want to be around you. Like people would be like, "Oh, hey, I'm here. I'm happy you're here." They're so excited, but then like, I don't want to deal with what comes with her.
Yeah,
So and that's not a good feeling.
not at all. Not at all. Awesome. Awesome.
But I do want him to come in real quick
Oh
if you
yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah. Let's
just chime in a little bit.
tell him to get on in the camera.
If you got some nuggets stuff, or what is something that you want to leave the people with, because we're about to get off. He got something to say.
Hey, y'all doing? What's going on?
Hey, what's going
What's
on?
going
How
on?
you doing, man?
What I would leave the people with, an old wise man once told me, if your female acts like a child with you, she loves you. She honors you, she respects you, she looks up to you. But if she acts like a man, she don't respect you.
Mm,
So the way you know a woman really loves you, she gonna be submissive. Submissive is not just, hey, I'm gonna do this for you, I'm gonna do what you tell me to do. Submissive is when you see them, you see a child. Because they trust in you, like a child does. When they start acting like a man, they don't respect you no more. That's my
wow.
words of wisdom. That's my golden
Hey,
nugget.
that's a mic drop.
You know what I'm
Hey, that's
talking
a mic drop moment. That is awesome, man. No, I love that. I love that. I love that. Well, look, man, this was good. This was really, really good. Appreciate you, just like I said, stopping by and really talking to me. And I hope this has helped someone, because, I mean, wow, just overcoming the trauma, just, how you raising your son, how you out here trying to get on your grind, get on your game, overcoming the memory loss, and how you just bouncing back from everything is really just a testament to God
Hmm.
and who you are as an individual. And so, I'll just tell you right now, I commend you, and just keep going forward, keep doing your thing, because at the end of the day, it's you, God, and as long as you got him, you can overcome anything and
Right.
you can defeat anything. So I just appreciate you coming on, you know.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I feel like this was a space that was necessary for me to open up because, people don't know that side. They just see me and like, oh, she got it together. Like, I'm trying to get it together, but it's not together. And I don't, share, life because you just don't know, how people try to use it against you. But I know that this is a safe space and I know that you are a great person, with a good heart. So, yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
like, this is right on time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, make sure you following us on IG where we post reels from the episodes. And if you can't watch us, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcast at Flip That Switch. So whether you're watching us or listening to us, make sure you're tapping in with us one way or the other. And again, Alex, thank you so much for taking the time, and we appreciate you. And we're going to see y'all again for the next episode. We out. Peace.
Thank you.